So, thank you for making time and coming all the way to Jaipur. What is with you and internet? कश्मीर में आप पोस्टेड थे, आई एम श्योर बहुत बार इंटरनेट बंद हुआ था. आज आप जयपुर आए, इंटरनेट बंद हो गया. आई थिंक दैट इज वन ऑफ द मेजर रीजंस वी हैव अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल मैसेज्ड मी कि हम आ नहीं पाए बिकॉज इंटरनेट नहीं चल रहा है. On a lighter note, I want to begin and ask you this question, sir.
See, I retired as, of course, I served. The most known tenure was 15 Corps Commander in Kashmir. But I retired as Director General Defense Intelligence Agency. So, intelligence में जो बात मालूम होती है ना, वो पता ही नहीं जाती. So, since I know why internet is not working, so I'll leave it at that.
So, we'll begin with the book now, sir. The title itself is something totally different. Alka ma'am said I'm a third generation. 3 generations हमारी किताबें बेच रही हैं. But ये थोड़ा सा confusing title भी है because ये हिंदी का title English की किताब में है. So please tell us the story behind the title to begin with, sir.
Okay, before I tell the story of Kitne Ghazi Aaye, Kitne Ghazi Gaye, why this title? I had a lot of problem with my publishers. Okay, sir, it's an English book. Why this Hindi title? But I said, no, it will remain like this only. And I can see Colonel Mrs. Jetrana sitting here. He was my first company commander when I joined the Indian Army as second lieutenant. So these are certain value systems which I have learned from them. And there's some old subadars, havaldars sitting here who have nurtured us like a small little kid when you join as second lieutenant. So they bring out a lot of value system. And I must thank the people who have molded me, chiseled me, nurtured me, and made me what I'm sitting here today. Subedar Girwar Sahab, Havaldar, Jeet Singh, Colonel Jetrana, Ms. Jetrana, they have been like parents to me. And I must thank all of them. Now coming down to your question, Kitne Ghazi Aaye, Kitne Ghazi Gaye. Yes, it's a Hindi title. And this line became viral immediately after Pulwama. 14th February 2019, Pulwama incident happened. And thereafterwards, the team security forces, everyone together, army, police, IB, CRPF, intelligences, civil administration, we got down to work and we eliminated the module which had carried out Pulwama within 100 hours. And the commander of that Jaish-e-Mohammed module was Pakistani terrorist Kamran, whose code name was Ghazi. I had taken over the 15th Corps on 10th of February, 14th February, Pulwama happened. By 18th February evening, we had eliminated that module within 100 hours, and 19th February morning was this press conference. And this press conference also almost did not happen. This book may not have been there, this title may not have been there. I put in the book also, but 19th morning I was going to the line of control after paying my respects to the mortal remains of Major Vibhuti Dondial and other soldiers who had lost their life in Pulwama, this Penglana incident, where we eliminated the module. After laying the wreath, I was to move to line of control. Suddenly I got a message, sir, there's a press conference. So I returned to my headquarters. When I returned to the headquarters, IGP Kashmir, Mr. Swampani, and IGP CRPF, Mr. Zulfikar Hassan, they were there. So my staff came to me with a 1-page note and told me, sir, this is the press note, and you will read this press note, and we will distribute this press note to all the press people who are waiting there in the press conference, place. So my question was, are there questions and answers which I will take? They said, no, sir, you will not take any questions. I said, is it live press conference? They said, no, sir, it's not live. And I said, then I am not doing it. Because if it is not live, people will think we have something to hide. If we don't take questions, people will think we are not sure of what we have done. And we cannot have the guts to take questions. I said, I will take questions and I will not read this press note. I will speak what I have to speak. And I'm not coming down until they get their Robbie vans and it will be live. So hurriedly, the staff now, they gave in. So that is where this press conference happened. This line, Kitne Ghazi Aaye, Kitne Ghazi Gaye, was not in that press note. So this, one journalist asked me, because this code name Ghazi, जो कामरान था उसका नाम गाजी कोड नेम था, and there are a lot of buzz in the media for last 4 days that Ghazi had carried out this Pulwama IED blast. So a journalist asked me, sir, is Ghazi dead? So I did not want to give much credence to this terrorist by trying to, explain things. So I just said, sir, kitne Ghazi aaye, kitne Ghazi gaye, parwah nahi. We are there, don't worry. And it's a fact, since my captain days in 1988, we have eliminated number of terrorists, Pakistani terrorists whose code name was Ghazi. Some of you might recall there was one very famous Ghazi Baba who was killed in Tral. So, Kitne Ghazi Aaye, Kitne Ghazi Gaye is the statement I made there. And this statement was picked up by the media and the social media, even so much so that young captains and majors serving in Rajputana Rifles in Kashmir, they had displayed this tagline on their company operating bases or the company posts, as we call it, Kitne Ghazi Aaye, Kitne Ghazi Gaye at the gate. So it's a very morale boosting statement for the youngsters. And of course, now it's in form of a book. So there is a lot behind this statement, but I written in the book also.
Let me also tell the audience, इस किताब को हफ्ता या 10 दिन हुआ है रिलीज हुआ है and it's already number 1 in all charts all over the country. Sir has sold 40,000 copies all over the country and इसका नया edition already in print है which I think will be released in the next couple of days.
Thank you. I must admit, in the pre-order stage, before the launch of the book, there were 3 reprint runs which were already carried out. The book was reprinted 3 times. In the pre-order stage only, it opened as a bestseller. In the pre-orders, it opened as a bestseller on 14th of February. It became national bestseller within a week. And I think yesterday or day before, Nelson, there's some agency which carries out the reading sentiments analysis of the books published. It has come out number 1 in the Nelson's charts. So there is a lot of love which this book is receiving. And when I wrote and gave the manuscript, the first thing which was told to me was, sir, ये बड़ी simple है language, ये नहीं चलेगी. So I said, very simple लोग हैं, simple ही लिखते हैं. So, but now maximum reviews on Amazon and Twitter are, it is a book as if you are sitting in front of us and speaking and telling us a story. It is so simple, it is so readable, we are enjoying it. So I think book is doing well, thanks to all the readers.
So whether it is the status of your book, your physical stature, or all of that you've achieved, I mean, everything is mountainous, huge, and of course, when we look at you, most of us would have to look up at you. So where did the tiny word come in from? I mean, I think इतना जितना confusing title है उससे ज़्यादा sir का नाम tiny. So the story behind, if you could tell us.
Karan Jatrana is sitting here. He is one of the culprits in this name killing. This name Tiny is there's small tradition in the unit which has commissioned in 4th Battalion, the Rajputana Rifles, commissioned in December 1983. In that unit, nickname is given to all the officers. Karan Jatrana's name is Hoshiyar Singh Jatrana. His name is Horsi Jatrana. Basically, little twist of Hoshiyar. So, this little nickname is given the unit, which is generally either opposite to your personality, your looks, or your overall personality. So, since I am 6+ and I was called Tiny, there's an officer senior to me. He retired as General Officer, Major Ghura. He is also 6'3", he is called Shorty Ghura. There's an officer who is most meticulous in his work. He is called Goofy. Then there's Alley Cat and Cat Ballu and Fury and what have you, Smiley. And Smiley is actually the name given which is actually his personality. There's an anecdote about Smiley in this book. Today I was speaking to him. He is always smiling. So he was called Smiley.
So you mentioned that, the book has received a lot of love. I've read it twice. I was honestly very nervous. I mean, which bookseller in the country gets an opportunity of interviewing a general and that too in front of such an august audience? जितने प्यार से ये लिखी गई है सर, आई थिंक उससे अभी बहुत कम प्यार मिला है इसको, एंड देयर लॉट मच टू हैपन टू इट. व्हाट आई वांट टू आस्क इज, इसमें एक और यूनिक कॉन्सेप्ट है which, when we talk about army, we talk about men, the manliness or anything related to that. You have mentioned a lot about, the 4 generations. You've dedicated the book to 4 generations of women in your life, sir. And you've literally celebrated their presence. Would you want to talk about one of them, maybe a BG to begin with? Share a story that takes us back to your childhood.
See, men in uniform, I always say we do not differentiate between the color of the uniform. Men in uniform are seemingly very strong, well built, big mustaches if you are a man, and very strong personality if you are a woman. That is their assumed image. They are very tough, they are very strong, they can handle any situation, they can take on any challenge. But within we are very soft. Because we always deal with tough situations. Outwardly, we actually end up becoming, emotionless people at times. But we have families, we have parents, we have children, we have spouses. We love our society, we love our families. Since we do not get to spend much time with our families, we are very emotional about it. Like, मेरे 2 बच्चे हैं, एक बेटा एक बेटी है. वो जब दोनों पैदा हुए मैं घर पे नहीं था. वो जब स्कूल गए मैं घर पे. मैं आपको एक बड़ी मज़ेदार बात बताता हूँ. मैंने आज तक एक भी पेरेंट टीचर मीट अटेंड नहीं किया. वो दोनों ग्रेजुएशन करके ऊपर जा चुके हैं क्योंकि घर पे होते नहीं थे. सो दिस इज वेयर वी आवर लेडीज द वाइफ्स दे हैंडल द फ्रंट एट होम. बिफोर आई कम टू द 4th जनरेशन आई मस्ट मेक अ स्टेटमेंट हेयर. आर्मी वाइफ्स, जवानों की वाइफ्स, ऑफिसर्स की वाइफ्स या पुलिसमैन की वाइफ्स, सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस पर्सनल की वाइफ्स आर द स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट वुमेन ऑन दिस प्लेनेट. क्योंकि जिस तरह से वो घर को संभालती हैं, पेरेंट्स, बुजुर्ग पेरेंट्स हैं उनका ध्यान रखना है, बच्चे हैं उनका ध्यान रखना है, गांव में खेती होती है, गाय बैल भैंस होती हैं, हर चीज़ का ध्यान रखती हैं वो. और कभी क्रिब नहीं करती, कभी ये नहीं बोलती कि मैं देखो ये कर रही हूँ वो कर रही हूँ, मेरे से नहीं होता है. वो नहीं चाहती कि जो बॉर्डर के ऊपर जहाँ कोई ड्यूटी के ऊपर उनका जो पति है उसकी ड्यूटी में किसी किस्म की खलल पड़े या किसी किस्म की उसको प्रॉब्लम आए. सो विदाउट स्पीकिंग दे आर मोस्ट अनएक्नॉलेज्ड पीपल इन आवर लाइव्स. कोई उनके जो सेक्रीफाइस है उसको एक्नॉलेज नहीं करता, उसको अप्रिशिएट नहीं करता, उसको सेलिब्रेट नहीं करता. फौजी का या पुलिसमैन का या पुलिस ऑफिसर का हर कोई कहता है ये बहुत अच्छा काम किया, फलाने ऑपरेशन में अच्छा काम किया, फलानी एजुटेशन में बहुत अच्छा काम किया. कोई नहीं बोलता है कि इनकी वाइफ, इनकी माता, इनकी सिस्टर, इनकी बेटी, उनका कितना सेक्रीफाइस था. इसलिए मैंने इस किताब में भी इसका खास करके जिक्र किया बिकॉज दे आर द पीपल हु आर द फोर्स बिहाइंड द फोर्सेस. आई हैव 4 generations of some wonderful women in my life. My grandmother, my mother, my wife, and my daughter. They have always guided me. Like my daughter, even today morning, she is saying, Papa, this dress doesn't go with this, shirt doesn't go with this doesn't go. And she will always tell me, Papa, this is not pronounced like this is pronounced like this. So they are your positive critics, they are your positive support base. So I learned a lot, I owe them a lot. Mrs. Jetana is sitting here, and they have 2 sons and 1 daughter, all in the army. And when I got married and we moved in, we were staying in the same block. She is the one who taught my wife how to put dal and pani in the cooker and make dal. She is the one who taught us everything of household things. So this is how women in the soldier's life are the most graceful, are the most dignified, are the most polished people in this whole uniformed fraternity.
सर आपके कवर से देख के, are you able to carry this look home?
Now I must tell you the story of this particular photograph. There is a press conference going on, and I have a habit of listening to the question. I never interrupt a person who is asking a question, and then I answer the question the way I want to answer. And this press conference was going on. This is the same press conference, and my wife and my daughter were watching or seeing the TV at home, and this press conference was live, as I told you. So a journalist asked me a question. I listened to his question. The question was the people who are staying ahead of the border fence or the LC fence, and every time they go across the fence or come back from the fence, they check, they ask questions and all that. And he made a statement, they are prisoners of war. Anyway, I didn't interrupt him, I took that question on. And when I started answering the question, and I was on the line के आप तो यहाँ बैठे हैं, आपको नहीं मालूम हम साया हैं हम. We on the line of control as army and these villagers on the line of control, हम हमसाया हैं. रात को 2 बजे भी आते हैं वो कि सब वाइफ प्रेग्नेंट है, लेबर पेन स्टार्ट हो गई हैं, तो हमारे ही लड़के या हमारे ही डॉक्टर लुक आफ्टर करते हैं. We are like neighbors. I was trying to explain the human aspect of it. He interrupted me. When I answered, he interrupted me. So I said, I have this finger which is crooked since NDA days. It broke in NDA. It's the story in the book. I said, wait. Now, the moment I said, wait, my daughter at home tells the mother, Mama, abhi isko pata nahi papa kya bolne wale. So, the tough look and the tough talk, I reserve it for the enemy. And at home, within the country, with the citizenry, with the people on social media, I never get perturbed, I never get angry. In fact, a lot of people at social media compliment me, sir, आप इतने प्यार से बात कैसे कर सकते हो? We have a different image of you. I said, वो image किसी और के लिए है. Don't confuse two things. So this image is, and these eyes, a lot of people have spoken about. I must say two words about eyes. A lot of people, there's a lady in Aurangabad. She's a very famous painter. She made a portrait of this painting, picked up this photograph from internet, made the portrait 2 feet by 3 feet, oil on canvas, and I had it collected. And she also told me, she says, I painted this in 3 days, but it took me 2 days to make only the eyes. But she could get the expression, and now I must say why these eyes are like this. This photograph is of 19th February morning. 14th February, Pulwama happened, and 16th, 17th night. The operation was going on where we, 16th, 17th operation was going on where we killed those terrorists, and the operation finished on 18th evening. So I was awake 2 nights. I had that anguish of Pulwama incident. I was awake for 2 nights, and 19th morning I had laid the wreath on the mortal remains of the soldiers who had lost their lives, who had made the supreme sacrifice, and then I had walked into this press conference. I said, in आंखों में वो गुस्सा भी है, वो आक्रोश भी है, वो 2 दिन की नींद नहीं है, वो भी है, और जो जवानों को अपने मैं रीत लेकर के आया, उनको जो एक अपनी भावना समर्पित करके आया हूँ, उसका भी कुछ इन आंखों में है. तो these eyes are mixture of the emotions of a soldier, of a human, of a comrade, and I can't explain it, but it's there in the eyes. Every time I look at them, I also feel. Generally, my eyes are never like that. But that day, they were like that.
सर, हम आर्मी को एसोसिएट करते हैं टफनेस से, आक्रोश से. अभी आपने जिस तरीके से पूरा डिस्क्राइब किया है, कुछ शायराना था. Where did that come from? And a lot of your book actually is also written as a poet.
Yeah, shairi is a very subtle and a very humane way of expressing your feelings. It can be love, it can be sacrifice, it can be, जैसे अपने राग हैं, ऐसे ही शायरी में भी आप अपनी कोई भी भावना व्यक्त कर सकते हो. In fact, it's there in the book again. I was giving a talk in Gujarat University. I must give this example. I have given it earlier also. So a young girl, I was giving a talk to the Gujarat University students, a young girl, I think PhD student or maybe, and she asked me a question. She says, sir, in army as a job, what are the challenges? So my response was, army job नहीं है, army मोहब्बत है, और मोहब्बत में challenges नहीं होते, मोहब्बत में अफसाने होते हैं. So when you are in love with your profession, when you are in love with your nation, when you are in love with what you are doing, फिर वो मोहब्बत है. And all the anecdotes which are there in the book or what we narrate to each other when we sit down in the evening, batchmates, academy types, serve together, those anecdotes which we narrate of the difficult times, वो अफसाने हैं. So this book is full of अफसाना और मोहब्बत.
So one thing, हम जब इसका build-up कर रहे थे, सौरभ sir and I had almost half an hour discussion कि चाय कहाँ पे लगाएंगे. I mean, army also has a lot of protocols involved. And इसमें you've given a beautiful anecdote around the protocols. I mean, if the chicken sandwich thing you could share with all of us.
Okay. The chicken sandwich thing is a very interesting anecdote. I was a second lieutenant, and Colonel Jatrana was a young captain. He still is young. And we had a corps commander visiting in Sikkim, and it was winters, there was snow, a lot of snow, and because in the weather in the mountains, it packs up means the visibility goes down tremendously by about midday. So all the senior officers generally visit the line of control or the borders on the pickets before the midday. So generally they will touch down by helicopter by about 7:30, listen to one commanding officer, then go to the second one, third, and then go back. So a message came to our unit, and we are sitting in the mess in the evening, that tomorrow Corps Commander will be visiting, and he will come at about 7:30 or 8, and he will go back by 9:30. So when the commanding officer is briefing, Brigadier Mukherjee, then Lieutenant Colonel Mukherjee was the commanding officer, just serve him some light snacks and all, because he would have taken off from somewhere near Siliguri and Sevak Road, the Corps headquarters there, Sukna. And he would not have had his breakfast because he would have taken off by about 6 o'clock. So just serve him some light snacks, and when the briefing is going on, don't interrupt. And okay. So a lot of discussion happened in the mess as to what can we serve him. Because as it is Sikkim, high altitude area, away from the civilization, it's not that you send someone ke jaake wahan se cake le aao, wahan se jaake kuch patties le aao. Whatever was there, and that only had to be converted into those light snacks. So a decision was made after checking with the mess havildar what all is available. Okay, we'll serve him chicken sandwich, we'll serve him tea or coffee, and we'll serve him bread, omelette, and jam, butter, as per his choice if he wants. So chicken sandwich was the main dish. So anyway, the mess Havildar Ramkishan was called, he was briefed. And next day morning, Brigadier Mukherjee, then Lieutenant Mukherjee, briefing, Corps Commander is sitting here, facing this side. And we tucked in the mess staff in a bunker because it was snowing. They had snowed earlier. And they were preparing the breakfast there. And I was showing, this is the enlargement we have. And there's in those days, we didn't have these laser pointers. We had big wooden, pointer. It's like a stick. So I was pointing on the enlargement. If the CO was referring to a particular landmark, so I was pointing on the enlargement, and so I was facing this side. I saw the mess waiter coming in from behind with the light snacks which we were to serve. And when he came closer, I saw, there is a chicken, roasted chicken, and there are sandwiches. So, and Brigadier Mukherjee was one very tough CO. He would brief you with detail, but then he would also lose his shirt. Not very often, but when he loses it, you bloody chaps, that was enough. So I saw this, I looked at the CO. CO was looking this side, we were briefing. And suddenly when this tray came on the table, I looked at Brigadier Mukherjee's expressions and I could see the temperature going up. But the Corps Commander enjoyed his chicken. And he enjoyed his sandwiches. And he asked for a second helping also. So thereafterwards, wherever this gentleman, the particular Corps Commander was visiting, whichever unit, we will get a call the previous evening. अरे यार आपने क्या खिलाया था उस दिन? हम भी वही खिलाएंगे. So this is an anecdote of chicken sandwich. And there's another anecdote which you said chai pani, which you might not have flagged. Colonel Jatrana himself, when the unit moved from Udaipur to Kashmir Valley first time in September 1988, and in the Srinagar transit camp, we both were sharing the room. And since we had our own convoy, we had our own trucks, civil trucks loaded with our vehicles. We were to go to Kupwara next day morning. So CO said we had a long haul from Udhampur. Tomorrow we'll leave around 9 o'clock we'll go. And Srinagar transit camp, the transients convoy of people who are coming down starts at around 4:30 or so that they can reach Jammu by about 5 o'clock. And so we both were in the room. We had to get up at 9, or we had to go at 9, so getting up at 7:30 would have been okay. So this tea boy came at about 3:30 or 3:45, and he knocked on the door. So I, being the junior officer, I went to the door and checked who is this. So he was the tea boy, and he put 2 cups of tea. And Colonel Jatrana, then Captain Jatrana, he asked me, he said, Tiny, कौन है? I said, sir, वो चाय वाला है. So he said, उसको बोल यार 7:30 आएगा. So he heard that chap, the chap heard it. And वो कहता, मैं रख के जा रहा हूँ, आप 7:30 पी लेना. And it is not that it's a thermos, it's an open cup. So these are anecdotes which is army. And then when I went as a Corps Commander to Srinagar, and the same transit campaign went, I looked around for that gentleman who had, risen to head chef for something, and then he had retired. So I got him back from his home. I offered him some prize money, And I said, your wit is too good.
सर कुछ यहाँ पे ट्रेनीज भी हैं. आपने इस बुक में ड्रिल्स के बारे में भी, द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ ड्रिल्स, एंड देन यू ऑल्सो practically witnessed those same drills in the battlefield. If you could narrate those stories.
जो ट्रेनिंग ऑफिसर है यहाँ पे, you must understand in training or whatever drills or whatever orders are there, we feel it's a waste of time or it's too elementary a thing or it's like I have given example of something called stand 2. फौज में सुबह शाम stand 2 होता है. ये सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर की प्रैक्टिस है. बिकॉज इन सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर द अटैक्स वर जनरली they used to come in at first light or last light. So all the defending armies used to get into their trenches and thing was called stand to. फिर जो उसका मेरी बाई हद ये है, दाहिनी हद ये है, ये मेरी फिक्स लाइन है, मेरे साथ वाले मोर्चे का कमांडर वो है, तो ये सारी चीज़ चेक होती थी कि आपकी सारी ड्रिल्स ठीक है कि नहीं है. एंड नाउ समबडी कैन से कि सर सेकंड वर्ल्ड वॉर में तो होता था, अभी तो पता लग जाता 3 दिन पहले, आज स्टैंड टू करने की क्या जरूरत है. तो मैं जब राष्ट्रीय राइफल्स में कंपनी कमांडर था तो आई यूज्ड टू वेरी सीरियसली इंसिस्ट ऑन स्टैंड टू. एंड उन दिनों में फिदाइन शुरू हुए थे, 99 की बात है जब कारगिल हुआ. तो मेरा ये था कि स्टैंड टू विल नॉट बी ए पनिशमेंट. ये नहीं होगा कि आपको स्टैंड टू के लिए बुलाया, आप पहुंचे वहाँ पे, फिर मैं आधा घंटा पौना घंटा चेक करते रहूँगा. बिकॉज इन CICT और काउंटर टेररिज्म ऑपरेशन, इफ यू आर नॉट देयर इन योर प्लेस इन 2 to 3 minutes एंड इफ द टेररिस्ट एंटर्स योर पोस्ट, देन वी विल हैव कैजुअल्टीज. तो मेरा था, आप चाहे नाइट सूट में हो, चाहे सिर्फ पजामे में हो, चाहे चप्पल में हो, चाहे कैसे भी हो, आपका सिर्फ बुलेट प्रूफ जैकेट, बुलेट प्रूफ पटका और AK आपके पास होनी चाहिए. रेस्ट ऑफ थिंग्स आई एम नॉट इंटरेस्टेड. आपने एंकलेट बांधे हैं, शूज पहने कि नहीं, मेरी तरफ से नंगे पांव पहुंचो, लेकिन 2 मिनट में पहुंचो वहां पे जहां आपकी नियुक्ति है कि ये मेरा बंकर है. एंड एवरीवन यूज्ड टू से, सर आप क्यों करवाते हो ये? सर नो, ये होगा, और मैं अपने टाइम से करवाऊंगा, कभी रात को 11 बजे, कभी सुबह 2 बजे, और 5 मिनट में आपको वापस लाइन तोड़ कर दूंगा, आई विल ब्रेक यू ऑफ. सो इन वन पर्टिकुलर इंसिडेंट वी हैड गॉन इनटू कश्मीर वैली, लोलाब. दिस फिदाइन हैपेंड ऑन आवर पोस्ट. So we had practiced 10 minutes ago, and moment this fire opened up, everyone came to their position. We killed 2 terrorists that day, but we did not allow them to enter our post. Because the stand to the drill, it saves lives. And I have again given another example, and again at times you tend to overlook things. I have been very honest in this book. I have not hidden anything. I have told in this book कि मैं किसी दूसरे को पकड़ के ले गया था, अपना गार्डियन बना के प्रिंसिपल के सामने जाके खड़ा कर दिया था कि सर ये मेरे गार्डियन है. सो वाई? बिकॉज टुडेज यंगस्टर मस्ट नो कि यार ये चीज़ मैं करता हूँ, इसने भी किया, ये लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल बन सकता तो मैं भी बन सकता हूँ. सो दिस इंसिडेंट हैपेंड. आई वाज ऑफिशियरिंग CO अगेन इन राष्ट्रीय राइफल्स. आई वाज विजिटिंग अ पोस्ट एंड देयर द सुबेदार साहब एंड द कंपनी 2IC कैप्टन थे. तो वो कहते कि मैंने उनको बोला मेरी QRT है, साथ में जो प्रोटेक्शन, जहाँ जिसको क्यू करेक्शन टीम बोलते हैं, 15-20 जवान जो होते हैं. ऐसा नहीं, गेस्ट वेस्ट कोई नहीं होता काउंटर टेररिस्ट एरिया में, आप बताइए इनको. नहीं साहब चाय पिए, मैं चाय में बाद में, पहले आप मेरी QRT को जगह बताइए. एनीवे उन्होंने जगह वगैरह बताई, एंड एज द लक वुड हैव इट, रात को 11 साढ़े 11 बजे द पोस्ट केम अंडर हैवी टेररिस्ट फायर. एंड व्हेन इट केम अंडर फायर, आई वाज वेयरिंग अ सलवार कमीज, द पठानी सूट. I picked up my AK and I ran to where I was supposed to go for stand to, and I did not change into uniform under the same scheme which I told you earlier कि किसी भी ड्रेस में पहुंच जाओ. When I was going past the cook house, लंगर बोलते हैं फौज में, I heard someone cocking his rifle, and then I realized कि यार I am not in the proper uniform. I came back to my room, I put on the combat dress, shirt and pant उसके ऊपर ही, and anyway after about 45 minutes when the fire we could control. The biggest thing was, has any terrorist been able to enter the post? We checked up and no sir, no sir, no. All reports came negative. But the cook, he said, नहीं साहब आतंकवादी अंदर घुसा है पोस्ट के. कहता था मैंने देखा वो 6.25 फुट का सलवार कमीज पहना हुआ, दाढ़ी साहब. कहता मेरी तो साहब राइफल नहीं अच्छे से कोक हुई नहीं तो मैंने तो मार लिया होता है. So this is again an example कि जो drills हैं, जो ड्रेस ऑफ द डे है, जो भी आपको करना है उसको ठीक से करो. नेवर टेक चांसेस विद दीज थिंग्स बिकॉज दे हैव अ मीनिंग. सो एवरी एनेक्डोट विच आई नरेटेड इन द बुक हैज अ मीनिंग, हैज अ लेसन फॉर द यंगस्टर्स, फॉर पर्सन हु इज लुकिंग एट द आर्मी, हाउ देयर लाइफ इज. सो आई हैव बीन वेरी ऑनेस्ट अबाउट ऑल दीज थिंग्स.
सर आपकी अगली मोहब्बत के बारे में थोड़ी सी बात कर सकते हैं, कश्मीर. So you have talked about history of Kashmir in this book as a poet, as a historian, as an artist. So उसका थोड़ा सा हमें description दीजिए. How you, I think you're the longest, one of the longest serving officers for that area. And as you mentioned in the book, chappa chappa you know more than your backyard. So कश्मीर के बारे में सर थोड़ा सा हमें.
The Jammu Kashmir police officers, DGP and downwards, they call me, आप कश्मीर cadre के हो. The number of tenures I had in Kashmir, total of 8 tenures in counter-terrorist operational area, 6 of them in Kashmir only. And starting from 1988 till 2020. So Kashmir, there is a lot of misgivings or misinformation about Kashmir. You know, Kashmir में terrorism है, राजस्थान में जेब कतरे हैं, पंजाब में चोर हैं. That does not mean पूरा राजस्थान जेब कतरों से भरा हुआ है या पूरा पंजाब चोरों से भरा हुआ है. इसी तरह से डज नॉट मीन पूरा कश्मीर टेररिस्ट है. कश्मीर एक इंतहा मोहब्बत करने वाली सोसाइटी है. कश्मीरी इज अ वेरी इंटेलेक्चुअल पर्सन, इज अ वेरी अवेयर पर्सन, इज अ वेरी एजुकेटेड पर्सन. ही इज अ पोएट, ही इज एन आर्टिजन, ही इज अ क्राफ्ट्समैन, मेहमान नवाज है. ही इज अ वेरी गुड कुक, ही इज अ वेरी गुड शेफ, कुजीन, वाजवान. आई टॉक्ड अबाउट इट. आई टॉक्ड अबाउट कश्मीरी हिंदू श्राइन्स, हिस्टोरिकल श्राइन्स. I talked about Muslim shrines. I talked about other religions, places of worship. So Kashmir society खुशी मतलब खुशहाली है उस इलाके में. झरनों में झंझनाहट में मौसीकी है. They are poets. They love their sports. They love their guests. So it's a very beautiful society, very nice people, and very good people. Terrorism, radicalization is one part of it. They are not even in single-digit percentage. So overall, Kashmiri is a very nice society, and I love Kashmir. I can go back to Kashmir. I can talk about Kashmir for hours together. In fact, when I was a brigadier, then Corps Commander General Om Prakash, we used to travel together in the helicopter. And the helicopter pilots have a drill. They will keep indicating to you, sir, if you look onto your left, this is the RPS. If you look onto your right, this is Jantar Mantar. When they are flying you. Similarly, in the Kashmir Valley, they will keep indicating that this feature is so and so, this village is so and so. And I will tick them off. I said, no, this feature is not that, this feature is this. और फिर जल्दी से अपना GPS निकालेगा, हाँ सर सॉरी सर. बिकॉज हमने तो वो पैदल चले हुए कल जटराना के साथ, तो उरी में मेरी फोटोग्राफ है 8 feet of snow and we are this deep in the snow. और वो सारी LC हमने पैदल चली हुई है यंगस्टर डेज में और उसके बाद भी. सो वन नोज कश्मीर बैकवर्ड्स, वन नोज कश्मीरियत बैकवर्ड्स. मोस्ट ऑफ यू विल नॉट बी अवेयर, इन कश्मीर महाराजा के टाइम से है, काउ बीफ एंड पोर्क ओपन मार्केट में नहीं बिकता है, एज अ रिस्पेक्ट टू ईच अदर्स फेथ. सो दिस इज कश्मीर फॉर यू. Lot of people have lot of misgivings about Kashmir. You read this book, you will come to know how beautiful the place is, how beautiful the society is, how beautiful the people are. And of course, those who are not good, उनके बारे में भी लिखा हुआ है. So it's a wholesome book.
So we'll come to the not good part a little bit. I had an opportunity of going to Kashmir twice. I had driven down. तो मैंने अब हमारा जीपीएस चल रहा था एंड अनफॉर्चुनेटली इंटरनेट उस टाइम भी बंद था, बट लकीली जीपीएस था. तो हम रास्ते से चले गए एंड वी डिडंट रियलाइज फ्राइडे को बड़ी मस्जिद श्रीनगर के सामने से निकले एंड वी वर लकी टू गो. हमने लाइव स्टोन पेल्टिंग देखी थी, वो बहुत पास से. वो क्रॉस किया, हम सोनमर्ग रुके एंड नेक्स्ट डे वी हैड टू क्रॉस जोजिला जो 2 घंटे के लिए खुलता है. एंड द्रास में भी सर आई हैड एन ऑब्जर्वेशन, द काइंड ऑफ वाइब्स वी गॉट फ्रॉम द लोकल पीपल, इट वॉज नॉट वार्म. कश्मीर बाकी सब जगह वो था. अब वो एज टूरिस्ट के लिए इतना डिफिकल्ट, हमें पहला एक्सपीरियंस था वो. ऐसी जगह में पूरे एरिया के लिए यू हैव बीन एन इंस्ट्रूमेंटल पर्सन टू गेट 2 ऑफ द मोस्ट बिगेस्ट डिसीजंस इन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ द कंट्री. आप थोड़ा सा उसके बारे में बताइए. हाउ डिड यू मैनेज पीस इन दैट एंटायर एरिया? पहले इफ़ यू कुड ऑल्सो टेल अस अबाउट द आर्टिकल 370, 35A a little bit, and then how did you assure the entire machinery कि आपने जो करना है वो करो?
ओके, आर्टिकल 370 और 35A हमेशा खबरों में रहा है, खास करके आर्टिकल 370. 35A का जिक्र होना शुरू हुआ करीब 2019 से 1-1.5 साल पहले. And let me tell you, I have been interacting with the top-notch politicians, top-notch people of Kashmir. On 5th of August 2019, 95% of them, including the politicians who had been ministers earlier, did not know what is Article 35A. जिस दिन वो abrogate हुआ, they did. 60 to 70% of the people in Kashmir did not know what is Article 370. Now I must take 2 minutes to explain what is Article 370 and 35A. जब हिंदुस्तान आज़ाद हुआ, तो दो किस्म के इलाके थे जिनको ब्रिटिश कंट्रोल करते थे. एक थे जो बिल्कुल डायरेक्टली ब्रिटिश कंट्रोल के नीचे थे, दूसरे थे जो राजे रजवाड़ों के थ्रू ब्रिटिश कंट्रोल के नीचे थे. दैट मीन देवर किंग्स एंड प्रिंसेस एंड नवाब्स who were in charge of that area, and they were subservient to the British Empire. So those areas which were directly under British control, they came into India without any hassle. All those areas which were part of any ruler or a ruling state, where the king or prince or nizam or whatever, they were given a choice whether to go with Pakistan or come with India. So most of them sided with India, this side of the IB, or most of them other side, one or Hyderabad and Goa and Pondicherry. These are different cases. So जिस दिन वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ एक्सेशन जो था, जो सभी ने साइन किया, तो महाराजा ऑफ J&K, Hari Singh, he said, I need some time to think about it. That time J&K was present Jammu region, present Kashmir, Pakistan occupied Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan, Leh Ladakh, and Shaksgam Valley, which has been given to China by Pakistan. So he said, I want some time. That thing was called standstill agreement. Okay, we'll wait till you decide. Pakistan was in a hurry. Pakistan invaded Kashmir with Razakars and their regular army officers. And that is when Maharaja signed this instrument of accession. After this instrument was signed on 26th October 1947, Indian Army's first unit, 1st Sikh, and subsequently Kumaon Regiment and other units went in, and they pushed the Razakars or the invaders back other side of Neelam river, Uri and Tangdhar and other places. Otherwise, they were on the outskirts of Srinagar, where today's airport is, Badgam. वहाँ पे Indian infantry का first परमवीर चक्र मेजर सोमनाथ शर्मा, बडगाम जहाँ पे उनका बना हुआ है मेमोरियल, it is just about 2 kilometers, a kilometer and a half from Srinagar airport. So when this instrument of accession was signed, Article 370 was not part of it. Article 370 was not a precondition to it. Article 370 was not even mentioned in that instrument of accession. Article 370 was not even born at that time. Article 370 got born 2 years later in 1949. So ये कहना कि जम्मू कश्मीर का हिंदुस्तान में जो विलय हुआ है उसकी बैकबोन या उसका दिल है आर्टिकल 370, नो सर. जब हिंदुस्तान में जम्मू कश्मीर का विलय हुआ उस टाइम पे आर्टिकल 370 किसी की थिंकिंग में भी नहीं था. फर्स्ट टाइम जब कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली मिली उन्होंने आर्टिकल 370 के बारे में जिक्र किया और लिखा हुआ है इट्स अ टेम्पररी एंड ट्रांजिएंट प्रोविजन ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन. देन फॉर सम रीजंस नोबडी रिमूव्ड इट. So finally when it got removed on 5th of August 2019, I'll tell you what happened. What is 370? Article 370 says, provisions of Indian Constitution are not applicable in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, the then state of Jammu and Kashmir. After independence, 106 amendments have been carried out to Indian Constitution for the welfare of society, because society, the systems are evolving, dynamic. To keeping with the requirements of the management and administration, 106 amendments have happened, including some very empowering amendments like Right to Information Act. All these acts are not part of the Ranbir Penal Code which used to govern Jammu and Kashmir. There is nothing called Anti-Corruption Bureau in J&K. There is a very, some of you may know, there used to be a practice in the villages in olden days where human excreta, the human waste, used to be carried by another human on their head and dumped outside the village, scavenging, physically cleaning that human waste, putting it in a utensil, putting it on the head and taking it outside the village. So this, as per amendment to Constitution, this became a punishable offense, Anti-Scavenging Act. Now this act also was not applicable in J&K. This is what Article 370 was. Article 35A defines who is the subject of Jammu and Kashmir. And let me tell you, there is another propaganda that these articles are specific to a particular religion. No, sir. These articles were administrative provisions. These are not religion-specific provisions. They are independent of any religion. They were applicable to all subjects of Jeet and Jammu and Kashmir, irrespective of their religious faith. Applicable to all Hindus, Sikhs, Muslims, Jains, Buddhists, Christians, everyone across the lines. The Parsis also in Jammu and Kashmir. So this is again a propaganda that particular religion has been, put down. Article 35A says, who will be the subject of Jammu and Kashmir? Now there's a very funny thing in that. If a subject of Jammu and Kashmir, his son marries a girl from Kerala or Saudi Arabia or Canada, he continues to inherit his father's property, the boy. But if the girl marries a boy from outside Jammu and Kashmir, she loses her inheritance rights. She will not inherit the property of the father. It was discriminatory on gender basis. My parents came from Pakistan after partition. The day they landed in Punjab, they were subjects of Punjab, they were citizens of India. West Pakistan refugees, because in those days, today's Pakistan was called West Pakistan, Bangladesh was called East Pakistan. These people were called West Pakistan refugees. They were not given the citizenship of the state of Jammu and Kashmir because of 35A till 5th of August 2019. They were staying in that state, they were contributing to the economy of the state, they were growing in that state. The children were not getting all the things which the state had to offer. So this is how these acts were discriminatory against their own people, against the women, against the downtrodden, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. So I have explained in detail, and then because of 35A, when 1990, the Indian economy opened up to the world, the foreign investment came in. Economy boomed. There, because 35A, nobody could invest in J&K. No MNC could come in. There was no economic boom. There was no job creation. The boys and girls were not getting proper jobs. ऊपर से हड़ताल, every second day हड़ताल. When 1990 में यहाँ पे खुशहाली शुरू हुई पूरे देश में, 1990 में वहाँ आतंकवाद शुरू हुआ. They missed the bus of development and economic growth. So all these were happening because of 370, 35A and terrorism. It's a very heady mix, socio-political, economic mix. Another aspect which happened. All elections in Jammu and Kashmir used to be boycotted by terrorists and Hurriyat. But they would very cleverly allow about 3 to 5% voting to happen early in the morning. And they will only vote for the people whom they wanted to come to power. 1989 parliamentary elections, Srinagar seat went uncontested. Only one party nominee contested and nobody else stood in front of him or contested against him. So these Hurriyat people used to allow only 3 to 5% people to vote, those who are their own people, and then those people will become MLAs and other things, they will form the government, and then when there are recruitments in the government jobs, the Hurriyat people only would get recruited at the lower bureaucracy level. So after 30 years today, those people are at the SHO level, they are at the headmaster level, they are at the bank manager level, they are at the Patwari Kanugo level. Now they are the working lower bureaucracy. And they are all infested with Hurriyat and Jamaati thinking. These things no one talks about. I have talked about this in the book because I have seen these things. I have dealt with the Thane ka Munshi. I know how things happen there. So these are the things which are plaguing the society, plaguing the citizenry in Jammu and Kashmir, especially Kashmir. So a lot of things are not in the open domain. People don't talk about it because it's a peaceful coexistence. Yeah, sorry.
So we'll just take one more question. I think we'll open it up to the audience for their questions.
Okay, biggest part of this book is the story of a 3-year-old boy. In a very tragic incident, he loses his mother, but is proud of the way she lost her life. At the age of 12 years, he loses his only other sibling, his brother. His naniji brings him up. He fails in class, he fails in exams, he is doing all types of mischiefs, which I told you. It's not that people who rise in life or become successful are always successful. You can never sustain success if you have not tasted the failure. जब आप फेल होते हो फिर आप उसको जो स्ट्रगल करते हो टू गेट बैक टू द सक्सेसफुल कन्वेयर बेल्ट, दैट इज व्हाट मेक्स यू सस्टेन द सक्सेस वंस यू अचीव इट. अगर सक्सेस हेरिटेंस में मिली है तो सस्टेन नहीं कर पाओगे आप. सो दिस बॉय he goes to NDA, he has his problems in NDA, he joins the unit, army very fine unit. सबसे ज़्यादा जो मेरे को सिखलाई फौज में मिली है मुझे अपने JCOs और NCO से मिली है. हवलदार, नायक्स, लांस नायक्स, सुबेदार साहब, some of them are sitting here today. जो चीज़ उन्होंने सिखाई, पहले दिन जिस दिन बर्फ गिर रही थी कश्मीर में, पहले दिन सुबह की पीटी, मैं जाके पीटी परेड के पीछे खड़ा हो गया बिकॉज पता नहीं था क्या होता है. सुबेदार मेरे नंदराम साहब आए, राम साहब ऑफिसर हमेशा आगे, आप पीटी परेड के पीछे नहीं खड़े होना साहब, आपने आगे खड़े होना है. दैट 3 words लाइफ लेसन टिल टुडे. मैंने नंदराम साहब से थोड़े दिन पहले बात की कि ऑफिसर विल ऑलवेज लीड. आई नेवर न्यू द मीनिंग ऑफ दिस, आई एक्सप्लेन इन द बुक. उस टाइम पे मुझे लगा ये मोराल की बात है कि ऑफिसर आ गया तो बहुत जरूरी है. लेकिन जब मैं कमांडर बना या GOC बना या कोर कमांडर बना, ऑफिसर हमेशा आगे का मतलब है ऑफिसर के पास पूरी प्लानिंग होती है, ऑफिसर के पास पूरी बैकग्राउंड इंटेलिजेंस होती है, ऑफिसर के पास कम्युनिकेशन के आले हैं हेडक्वार्टर के साथ में, ब्रिगेड हेडक्वार्टर या DIG हेडक्वार्टर या अपने नेबरिंग यूनिट के साथ जहाँ सोर्स जिसने इन्फॉर्मेशन दी है. तो ऑफिसर इज ऑलवेज अपडेटेड ऑन इन्फॉर्मेशन. अगर वो पीछे होगा तो जो हालात कॉन्टैक्ट पॉइंट पे हैं उसका डिसीजन नहीं ले पाएगा वो. इसलिए ऑफिसर खुद अगर कॉन्टैक्ट पॉइंट पे है और ये सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन उसको आ रही है तो प्लान को मॉड्यूलेट करना है या मॉडिफाई करना है या उसको डिफरेंट तरीके से एग्जीक्यूट करना है, डिले करना है, हेसन अप करना है, तो वो डिसीजन ले सकते हैं. इसलिए ऑफिसर हमेशा आगे. मोराल एक चीज है, प्रैग्मेटिक दूसरी चीज है. सो दीज आर सर्टेन लाइफ लेसन्स ऑफ द आर्मी. एंड यू नो देन माय वाइफ का सैक्रिफाइस, आई स्पोकन अबाउट इट. इट्स अ बुक विच टेल्स यू अ स्टोरी. अगर आप जवान लड़का हो, फौज ज्वाइन करना चाहते हो या फोर्सेज या यूनिफॉर्म फोर्सेज, रीड दिस बुक. फॉर अ गर्ल ट्राइंग टू मैरी, वांटिंग टू मैरी अ soldier or a policeman or anyone in the uniform, read this book. वो जो है ना शान और शौकत, वो चमकते सितारे, वो एक बात है, बहुत सेक्रीफाइस है. और फिर नहीं बोलना जब एक बार शादी हो गई अरे मैं कहां फंस गई. So this book gives you a very clear image what you are going into and practical personal examples. So your next book is I signed yesterday, ma'am. And the book is on leadership. I still got to sort of gather my thoughts how to do. But only thing I want to tell you is, which is what the theme of the next book is, leaders are not born, leaders are not trained. Leaders evolve or emerge from situations.
Yes, beautiful.
एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ. रोड पे एक्सीडेंट हुआ है, 50 लोग खड़े हुए हैं आसपास, अलग अलग एज ग्रुप के हैं, अलग अलग इकोनॉमिक बैकग्राउंड के हैं, अलग अलग एजुकेशन बैकग्राउंड के हैं, अलग अलग जेंडर के हैं. कोई कह रहा है मेरे को क्या मतलब है, मेरे से तो कोई लेना देना नहीं है. कोई डरता है कि शायद, अभी तो आजकल पुलिस में कानून है कि किसी भी जो विटनेस है, जो स्मार्ट है, जो हेल्प करता है, उसको सवाल भी नहीं पूछा जाएगा. माई वाइफ कैरिड एन इंजर्ड चैप इन द कार. By the time he reached hospital, poor chap lost his life. But I must say it here, not a single question was asked by any police chap to me. They said, sir, हमें मालूम है कि आपकी वाइफ वहाँ से आ रही थी, उन्होंने उठाया है, आई विटनेसेस हैं, लेकिन हम आपसे सवाल भी नहीं पूछेंगे क्या गाड़ी है. सो दिस इज ऑन द साइड. सो उस भीड़ में से एक 18 साल का लड़का सामने आता है, इंजर्ड बंदे को उठाता है, अपनी गाड़ी में डालता, हॉस्पिटल लेके जाता. ही इज द लीडर. He has emerged from that difficult situation. So ये बेसिक थीम है नेक्स्ट बुक का, लीडरशिप लाइफ लेसन्स. वो भी ऐसी एनेक्डोटल रहेगी, खुद के एनेक्डोट्स, दूसरों के जो मेरे जान पहचान वाले हैं उनके एनेक्डोट्स, कि कैसे डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन में, बोर्ड रूम में और बैटल ग्राउंड में ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं है. फर्क सिर्फ इतना है, यहाँ पे 5 लाख का नुकसान है, वहाँ पे 1 जान का नुकसान है. आपके डिसीजन में, आपकी लीडरशिप क्वालिटीज में. यह नुकसान अगले महीने भरपाई हो जाएगी, उस नुकसान की भरपाई नहीं हो पाएगी. जो जान गई, हर जान, हर जवान, हर कांस्टेबल के पीछे एक माँ बाप, एक वाइफ, 2-3 बच्चे, 1-2 भाई बहन, मामे चाचे, 10 से 12 लोग हैं जो उस एक आदमी के पीछे खड़े हैं. वो एक आपके लीडरशिप क्वालिटीज के कारण या आपके गलत डिसीजन के कारण एक जो जान जाती है, आपकी आत्मा के ऊपर वो 12 लोगों का बोझ है. So next book is going to be on this theme. I am going to submit the script by about June, July, and let's see how it goes.
Thank you for watching this video. If you also love conversations at a bookstore, please do subscribe and like this channel. And if you wish to host your favorite author over a chat, do mention the same in the comment box and witness it happen. Please also visit our website www.rajat.corner. This is Mohit Batra signing off.